Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. So here we have a Surron Lightbeat X. Now, this young fella, he had somebody strip this down. Another kid told us that he paid 200 bucks. There's this dude that, I guess, strips these down, sends it off to powder coating. Obviously, you're not paying 200 bucks for powder coating, but got the frame powder coated. It looks really nice. Thing is, this has just been the worst build ever because he didn't give us the parts. So this is kind of like a public service announcement of, if you take your bike to a place, we quoted to strip this down, do all that. They didn't want to pay that because there's a lot of time involved stripping it down, sending it off to powder coating. Then when you get it back, tolerances might be different. So it's a custom build. You're going to have to re-tap things, go through things, maybe take off a little paint on the backside of something just so things fit, right? It's a lot of work. Whatever. So he had that powder coated. In the meantime, had a EBMX controller and motor on order. Tariffs hit, all that happened. Then that took forever. And then the backlog took forever to get those. So this has been all year project, really. And so then we got excited once we got the controller and motor. And then that's when the shit really hit the fan because, we go put it on and it's a rat's nest of cabling. He had KO stuff on there before. So we had to get the race harness. We got the race harness in. We started hooking this up. And then we noticed, oh, the controller. Well, he doesn't have any of the stock stuff, and there's no stock bracket. And we don't do Surrons a lot, so we weren't quite sure, so we had to look it up, do research. And yeah, there's a bracket that attaches to this plate that holds the controller up. Well, I don't know why they removed it. It's gone. He also didn't give it to us with the breaker. Luckily, we had a brand new breaker in a box from an e-ride, and it turns out another kid had his Surron in, and this was the same breaker. So we were like, awesome, we already have one of these on hand. Well, of course, we didn't have the screws because he doesn't have the screws. He also didn't give us the battery cable, but it all started with the motor mounts. When we got the motor in, we didn't have any of the hardware for the motor mounts. He said something about cutting it off or something, so we went ahead and ordered motor mounts. Well, after this last round of, do you have any more parts? Oh no, I don't have anything else. I don't have anything else. And this went around and around and around. He dropped off. I come in, I find a bag of parts at our door. So he had a whole bag of parts. In here is the motor mount. There's one right there. So he has the motor mounts. He has here's the other one. So he has all these bolts and stuff. It's like, even if you think it's insignificant, you're doing a custom build. We need the bolts. We didn't have the controller bolts. He has all the titanium bits. So some of them we're putting on as we go. Others he can just do. That was never part of the quote. So if we need something and it's there and it's labeled, we'll go ahead and use it. Otherwise, he's on his own for that, because going through and trying to figure out if these work, like we found the controller ones, but they did not fit. So it's going to be what it's going to be. And I had to source these skinny, long ones to hold the breaker in. I had to source this from Ace Hardware. So I went there this morning, which is a trip, which is fuel, which is time, and bought 4 of those. Found something. At first we weren't finding anything. Luckily the guy found them as I was going to walk out. So came and said, hey, we got those. So we got something to put in. That's going to have to work. It's an insignificant part otherwise. So just to get those from there is no Surron importer per se. So from E-Ride maybe? Good luck. They'd probably say go to the hardware store because it's an insignificant piece, right? Why was this taken off originally? I don't know, because this back plate doesn't, other than being pulled out down here for this to be powder coated, it doesn't have to be missing this piece. It doesn't have to be missing the piece to hold the bracket to hold the controller that bolts to. So, there's just little annoyances, and the kid's getting frustrated with us, but we're frustrated with him because it's nonstop. He doesn't give us all the parts. And it's just annoying that somebody would do that, and it's week after week after week. So, we think we finally have everything. Luckily, that's another customer's. Luckily, we got the battery cables. That was a big one. He's like, what battery cables? I don't have battery cables. How do you think the battery plugs in, man? It plugs in with the cable. You need this cable. Well, I don't have anything else. Well, it was on the bike when you originally brought it to us. So we kind of learned our lesson. We're not going to do another build where we're not taking it apart. If we're not taking it apart, forget it. Because this is totally ridiculous. And when people come in, it's like, yep, the dumpster fire of a bike. This powder coating looks nice, but this is ridiculous. This is taking way too long. It's been sitting in here way, way too long. So we're finally in the home stretch, I think. And yeah, it's going to be good once this is all together. Oh, I should point out that bracket. He said he was going to look for it. Last time when he said that, it took a week and a half to get a bag of parts. Just randomly showed up to the door here. We went ahead and ordered a bracket. We're not going to wait for him. We're going to charge him for the bracket. We're charging him for all this stuff. Not like it's free. You're not going to provide it for us. We're charging for the motor mounts, even though you apparently did have them in a bag, but you said you cut them off, so we had to order them. You insisted you had nothing else at that point in time. And then when we pressed for battery cables and for other things, it's always, well, I don't have anything else. Again, this is just going on way too long. And I would like to point out, you still need suspension, man. I don't know, and upgraded brakes, really. So, it is what it is. I don't know, for some reason, he likes the mountain bike bar setup. It has, from here on in, is all the marks to trim it down to the size you need. He has them just on for the full width, which is very weird. From a motorcycle standpoint, that is just odd that you'd want that wide of bars. But maybe he's riding it on the road. I don't know. I mean, these are ungodly wide bars. I mean, yeah, it's a little ridiculous. And they're so flat, too, versus, well, just go over to the E-Rides over here. And, typical bars, you kind of want up, right? You don't want down. I don't know. Everyone has their own personal preference. But how he didn't cut them down at all was just seems kind of crazy to me. Maybe he's going to. This is just a public service announcement of, if you bring your bike into a place, bring all the parts that you have. Even if you think it's the most insignificant part, bring it into the shop, because we might need it. Whether you think that bolt is insignificant or not doesn't matter. So, anyways, we'll get this wrapped up here in the next few days. It's probably going to take a day or two for tuning. So, hopefully this week it's wrapped up. It's done. It's finally out of here, Out. It just needs to go. We have other bikes we need to get to, and this takes our time, and then we get to a point where there's no bracket, there's no breaker, there's no this, there's no that. It's like, oh my God. Let's just get her done, man. So, we're going to get this done. We're going to get this out. And for how much money is going into this, honestly, you could just buy a E-Ride 3.0 or SR and have plenty of power and capability. I honestly don't know. The Surron Light BX platform is really outdated. And, there's better platforms out there now. And because there's no true importer, there's no one we can go to and be like, hey, we need this part or that part. Luckily, they started the trend, So there's a lot of parts out there through Amazon and what have you. So you can find the parts, you can find some of the resources to look into how things go together, but it's otherwise very difficult. And a lot of places have pulled out of selling Surrons. So I don't know what's all that about. Our local places have stopped doing Surrons. Charge Cycle Works have stopped doing Surrons. So I don't know. That's a whole nother thing. It makes it kind of like the Wild West out there with Surrons, because it's same with Talaria. Because you go on and you try to look at who's the official importer, and there is no official U.S. side importer. It's whoever has a bag of money goes to Talaria and says, I want to buy containers of bikes. They're like, hey, okay. Kind of like Surron. You show up, you buy a bunch of bikes, you're the Surron importer, per se. You could call yourself that because there is none. It's not like E-Ride where there is a U.S. side of things that is the importer. Very strange, very strange. But anyways, that's this bike. I just wanted to give this public service announcement because it's just a little ridiculous. But otherwise, I think it's going to be a nice bike when we're done. It's going to be hell fast. His battery ain't going to put out as much amps as his motor, race motor, can do. I think that's like 40 kilowatts. Is there a battery that can do 40 kilowatts? I think 30 is kind of the max. Maybe that's kind of changed. But he would have to upgrade the battery next, would be the logical. And also suspension. If you're tossing this much money at this, suspension. Get real forks. Get a better rear shock. And obviously the battery. I mean, and I would probably at that point, if you're going to be hitting fast speeds like anything over 60, well, really anything over 30 should have better brakes than these mountain bike brakes. And that's another reason why this platform is outdated and obsolete. E-Ride 3.0 with its thicker rotors, thicker pads, bigger calipers is just better. So anyways, that's it for this dumpster fire, and hopefully we get her done and out of here. Y'all take care, stay well, stay safe. Bye.